Hello and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 410 at scavengerlife.com.
Hello from New York City.
Rainy New York City.
Yep, we have some friends who live here and we come and stay anytime they're out of town.
Yes.
They gave us a last minute offer to come and stay because they had to go to a wedding.
Yeah.
And we accepted it.
Because we could.
That's the nice thing about our life is that we could kind of drop everything for a week and come up here. Take the train, have a little scavenger vacation.
Little vacay.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's
good
great.
to be here. So a week ago on the podcast, we were talking about spending money and like what being frugal is. And we were continuing that on the its forum, just people kind of talking because we all have different needs and the way we see things as far as money goes. And what it comes down to is this.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Opportunity costs. Now, I'm not a business. I mean, we're not like business gurus. Like, I've never been to business school.
Yeah.
But it's one of those business terms that I think is a useful thing. And an opportunity cost is the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen.
Okay.
So, what does that mean?
Yeah, okay. What does that mean?
Couple things. We make a couple assumptions on this podcast. This podcast is about our life.
Yeah. And
we're just sharing it with people. And our life can be different from other people's lives. So, our goal is to own our own time. Mm-hmm. And then our other goal is that, people hearing this are kind of, it's like us. If you're making under, like, $75,000 after taxes and all that stuff,
right?
So if someone's hearing this and they're bringing in like $500,000 after taxes, they're going to be different from us because right. They can afford to spend its money in a different way.
Yes.
So opportunity cost is this: if we wanted to spend $50,000 on a new car, we could,
right? But
then that's a big chunk of our ready cash that we could do on other things.
To do other things.
Right. And as you were telling me the perfect example. This year, we could buy a $50,000 car or renovate a building.
Right.
That will generate us cash.
For years, for the rest of our life.
So that's like an opportunity cost. Getting this really nice, awesome new car.
Yeah.
We could do it.
Yeah.
But then we couldn't do this other thing.
There are people in the world who can do both.
Right.
Right.
And that's cool. And because our goal is to own our own time, we're willing to not have a new car, but to keep building up a business that will generate us income because that ensures that we will always own our own time.
Right.
You kind of hope,
You hope, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just, I kind of wanted to bring that up. I mean, we're talking about being... it's frugal, and people were definitely saying, I love taking its vacations, or I love this, or I love that, and that's fine. And so we all just have to decide if we do X, does that make you lose an opportunity from Y,
Right, exactly.
But
if it doesn't,
right,
then you're fine.
Right.
Or, so it doesn't matter to everybody,
Right. So like us coming up here, and we brought like a bag of frozen food.
We literally
frozen chickens and like frozen boca burgers,
sausages, beans,
and even like a big thing of cream because cream, coffee cream's expensive up here.
It's cheap down where it's literally less than half the price where we live.
It was exciting though because we're gonna save probably like $50 or
plus,
something, doing that, and then that gives us the opportunity to go and do something cool here.
Right, exactly. And you kind of shift that money instead of spending it on groceries or dinner or whatever. Right. We did go out to dinner last night.
Yeah, last night we definitely treated ourselves.
Yeah.
Walked across the it's Manhattan Bridge.
Williamsburg Bridge. We went to
Yep.
Look, that place was pure Williamsburg where we were.
We walked a long time yesterday, and it was great. Okay, so let's talk about eBay. A couple things. Steve, who does our What Sold
Steve Schultz
video, he actually was letting everybody know that eBay now has water-activated tape.
Right, so the eBay supplies that you can buy, eBay branded supplies, I should say. They have the water activated, it's like strapping tape. It's brown paper, but it has little like fiberglass strings through it, so it's really strong. And you can buy a water dispenser, but they're very expensive. So what he does, and what I would do if I get it, is you use like a little wet sponge on like a surface, and then you flip it and put it on the box and let it dry. And it's very strong.
And basically a molds to the box, so it becomes a part of the box.
Yeah, it's it's like when you get Amazon boxes, they use that tape,
right.
which is good because it's pretty much biodegradable. I don't know if the little strings inside are, but it's not plastic. So,
and it's cool. So that's in their new. So
that's in their store.
We can take our a coupon and buy it. Right?
So the next quarter, I don't know if I gotta check the coupon. I'm supposed to get. Look, where's the coupon.com or coupon as you say. You can sign up for emails, but I think I already bought for second quarter, so I'm just waiting for third.
It'll be interesting. He said it was brown. I would think that they would try and like brand it, but
no, it's branded. It's brown, but it has like eBay printed on it, like in blue or something.
Cool. Elle was telling everyone that on her phone, she now saw that you can send an offer to a buyer.
I saw it the same day. I woke up the day we were coming up here super early in the morning, and I was like looking at my solds or whatever, and it was like send 5 offers to your buyer, and I was like, cool. It actually had like 30 offers available for me to send. So I actually sold 2 t-shirts through offers.
And that's the first time that's ever happened. I mean, because we've tried it. It's before and it hasn't really done anything.
When you say, so that was the first time anyone had accepted offers.
Right, sorry.
And the first day that I noticed that you could do it through the app. It wasn't just through some weird hidden page on the website. So,
and we have iPhones. I know some people were telling us that the Android had that for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know, but on the iPhone that worked. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool. I mean, we sold like 2 shirts for like $14.
For like no money.
$14.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, great.
I guess if you give anybody an offer that is, cheap enough, it's going to sell. So, it's all about how hungry we are to get.
It's nice to be able to have some kind of movement, though, that you're like, I can at least do this and maybe it will help. I mean, there were offers I sent to like, 15 watchers and like nothing. But then, some people were saying, not on our forum, but I think on Reddit, they were like, a lot of those watchers are your competitors because they're just looking to see if you're actually going to sell these things.
And that's true. I know we do that.
I watch stuff, yeah.
We definitely follow people that have like really items that maybe we have and they're up really high and we're like, will they sell it?
Yeah.
Okay, and then on eBay, about kind of continuing on this, someone on YouTube was saying that the new PayPal doesn't refund the fees on it returns. We knew that was a thing.
That was an issue.
But people are saying that that's on hold, that so many people were complaining.
I mean, look, so it wasn't, was it the percentage fees or just I forget what fees they wouldn't refund. Yeah, it was like the percentage.
Yeah. PayPal's, what is it, 2.5%?
Yeah,
I know people are going to get mad at
before.
me.
Yeah, so what they were saying is if you get a payment, and this happens all the time. Look, last week was like, this was the week of that. Someone pays for an item, and they immediately ask to cancel it.
Right.
So the idea was that you could fully refund your buyer, but PayPal kept the fees that they took from you. And you're like...
And
what?
PayPal didn't really, not that I saw, didn't give a reason for it. Like, is it like too much of a pain in the butt for them?
No, they want to keep their money.
I know, but I feel like internally they have to have a reason to explain to people. Like, are people abusing the policy? Like, I don't know. I mean,
yeah.
But the good thing is, it sounds like enough people were complaining, and PayPal has put that on hold, so that's not actually happening.
I hope they put that on hold forever, because that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, people were saying like, "Oh, good. Well, eBay managed payments can't come fast enough if that's the case," and I'm sure PayPal felt that.
Right. I didn't even think about that. That's true. So when someone buys something from us and they immediately cancel.
Right.
Because sometimes that happens because they find it cheaper, or they change their mind.
Didn't like it or whatever.
Then you automatically will lose,
X percentage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so if it's a really high dollar item, say it's like a $200 piece of artwork,
right? That could be $5.
Yeah, and if that happens frequently, I mean,
right.
it does kind of happen.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm paying all these fees just for someone to change their mind in the first minute.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we'd ever, it's not like a huge chunk of change out of our bank account. It's just justice. It's just
justice.
Not correct. Yeah. Okay, let's do the gut reaction to this week.
Slow, depressing.
It was so slow that we were actually getting angry at each other talking about it because so when we went out of town, or when we knew we were going out of town, we changed our 5 days, 10 days?
No. So the first day I changed it was 10 days. Mm-hmm. But then the very next day when we were on the train, I changed it to 5 days because it was like 6 days. So then I had to change it to 5 days. So
yeah, and we've done this before where we've changed our handling time and we've still sold well. So it's hard to always say it's because of this.
The handling time.
It's probably a range of reasons. I'll be interested to hear if other people have had a good week or not. But yeah, it was just really slow. Here's our numbers. We made $900 this week, which is the lowest we've made in 2019. Whenever we make under $1,000, that's not good.
I mean, I had several people buy something and then buy and pay,
right.
And then be like, "Oh, sorry, I didn't want this.
Right?
Please refund."
Hey, we're going to talk about that. So. And the other issue is like the things that were bought. We only sold 29 items. Most of it was low dollar items. Our average price was $30.
I mean, $30 isn't a bad average price, but nothing.
But when you're only selling 20, like we sold twice as much stuff a week ago,
right?
And we made 3 times as much a week ago.
I don't know what.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. That's just how it is. I guess I have to be grateful that we can even sell stuff while we're gone.
Right.
So I got to see it that way.
Yeah, I think what's a bummer is that our handling time wasn't very long. It wasn't like we were gone for 4 weeks. It was like we're just gone for less than a week. So it feels like that's not the reason.
It's hard to say. And things we sold, it was just really, there's nothing really special to talk about. So a third of what we sold were clothes.
Yeah.
Like clothes and shoes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And clothes for us normally is pretty low dollar.
Pretty low, but it helps.
We did sell $100 pair of shoes, so that was nice. That kind of helped us.
Yeah, I forget what shoes.
Jimmy Choo.
Jimmy Choo. Yeah, and I had those up for $400 because Jimmy Choo is like a super designer.
Yeah.
But look, right before dinner yesterday, when we were going out to kind of a fancy-ish dinner, I was like, "Oh, I'm taking this offer so fast."
Yeah. And then just random stuff. Really, it's nothing that exciting to talk about. Scavenger of the week, nothing.
We didn't scavenge.
We walked 10 miles
yesterday,
and we didn't find anything on the streets.
Look,
we wandered around neighborhoods.
NYU is about to get out next weekend. I guess people are graduating like next week, which stinks because we're not going to be here, and that is when the treasures are in the trash. Yeah. So no one's really throwing anything out yet.
I really do wonder if there is kind of like a scene where there are people that know when NYU kids are out, and there's like a scene of people that scour the streets.
Because look, I mean, I heard some lady on the street yesterday. She goes, "That place is full of affluenza," or whatever, if you know that phrase. Yeah. So, look, there are rich kids, and they just, like, throw away their old iPhone in the garbage.
I'll give a bit of a caveat. I don't think it's all rich kids. I just think it's a lot of parents that want to give their kids the best and are willing to sacrifice a lot to get their kids in there. And, and then that's a lot of money for sure. There's like a new building that we saw.
Oh my God!
That NYU is building
and right off Houston.
It's gonna be gigantic
because there are all these cranes there, and there's this little tiny bookstore that Jay said has been here for over 20 years. Yep. And we walked in, and we were like, what is that building? He's like, it's NYU. Like, they just own this whole
Well, that just
neighborhood.
shows how much money they have. But
Yeah.
you know what? That's their opportunity cost, I guess.
They want to
Whatever that means.
Yeah.
Customer issues. Okay, here's the deal. So it's a slow week. Fine, right? We can eat that. What makes it more painful is that we had, like as Ryan said, we had 2 people buy things and immediately cancel.
One was $50 and one I gave an offer for $35. Not high, but
and they canceled, and it's fine. They can do that. It's just painful when that happens. And then on top of that, we had 6 return requests. It seems like every day we would wake up and there would be someone say, "I want to return this thing." And again, people are totally allowed to do that, but it is interesting how it comes in waves. Like, we'll not have a return for weeks, and then suddenly they all come at once, and they come at, like, the most painful time.
yeah, on a slow week.
4 people just changed their mind. They're like, I just don't want it. Fine.
Yep.
Return it. 2 people said it was our fault.
Yeah.
One guy said there was something he didn't like about the item. He said, I mean, I'll keep it, but you got to give me half my money back. So we always just say, send it back, you know.
I just tell people, you got to mail it back.
Yeah.
And they don't want to, so they usually don't. Sometimes they do. One lady, I gave a partial refund to something that broke in transit, and she actually fixed.
Right. Sometimes it makes sense to give partial refunds, but these people who come up with something that doesn't make sense, and then they want some of their money back. I would rather just get the item back and
resell it. Yeah,
we sold like this old electronic piece of equipment.
It was like a ballast. I don't know what it was.
One of those things. I'm sure people have experienced this, where you find some kind of like mechanical, electric thing, and you can't test it. You know, it's a part of a bigger thing.
Yeah.
It looks in good shape, and you list it. And we always say, untested.
Untested.
4 parts.
Exactly.
Guy gets it.
Says it doesn't work.
He says it doesn't work the way he expected, and he wants he wants to send it back. And then we're just gonna just send it back. You know. It's hard to sell those kind of things.
I shouldn't have sold that thing, but I honestly thought someone was going to use it for...
Yeah.
I have no idea. I don't know what I thought.
It's one of those things you find in the bottom of a box, and you're like,
somebody must know what this is.
Yeah. Even if you say no returns, all that stuff.
It doesn't matter. They can still return
They can still force
Say
it.
it's defective, even though it says untested.
But I think like other people have said who sell that kind of stuff, they're like, yeah, but the chances are good it's going to work.
Yeah.
And so you just take the hit.
Or the chances someone's just going to part it out, so it doesn't matter.
And then one guy bought an item in January, so we're talking 5 months ago,
yeah.
And he says he wants to return it. And what we do is nothing. Silence.
I mean, he was like, my son bought this through another username. I'm in another country, and you sent it to him while he was on vacation. It didn't work. Blah blah blah. This is in January, and I'm just like, it's obviously way past anything.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no.
I mean, you want to be nice to people, but 5 months is a long time to be nice. So the good thing is, just for anyone that is new, if you have like a 30-day return policy, very generous.
Yeah.
eBay doesn't expect you to do anything, so we just don't say anything because we don't need to.
Right.
Okay, things we learned in the forum. At Retro Treasures WV,
yes,
he was talking about being frugal.
Yes.
And it was interesting. We were trying to define what frugal means, but I think there's some new people in the its forum that were confused by maybe what we mean by frugal. And he was like, being frugal means giving thought to every purchase to make sure you are getting your best bang for the buck.
Yeah, your value.
So good.
Yeah.
It's value.
Yeah.
Being smart with money and being able to get the most out of what you want without hurting yourself financially.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yep.
There are times though, and I get it, when frugal people think of frugal as like those people that are like so cheap.
Cheap is different than
like
frugal.
They steal the toilet paper out of public it's restrooms.
Yeah,
you know?
right, exactly.
I mean, or they go to, you go to a restaurant where you can serve at your own drinks, and they get the water cup and they drink the Coke. I mean, it's kind of like questionable, shady techniques. Or for me, it's when you think it's value, it means you're not always buying the cheapest. Because if you buy the cheapest things, it means you're often buying the worst. So you end up spending more money in the long term.
Because you have to replace it.
And you lose that time.
Look, we've found that to be true with renovations. I don't know if we mentioned this last week. I feel like we talked about this already. However, we probably just talk about this all the time. Like we had some plumbing done in one of our rentals. We didn't buy the parts. We just had someone do it for us a couple of years ago. And then both sinks, the kitchen sink and the bathroom sink, started leaking. And our person who's working for us now was like, whatever parts they bought the cheapest thing you could buy at the hardware store, which for us is not what we like to do. We want to buy a better, and also I'm not a plumber, so I couldn't have known that was the case. But they bought the cheapest parts, and so our friend who's helping us, who does plumbing and stuff, he was like, I bought a more expensive, piece of whatever, and hopefully you will never have to replace this. Right. And we're like, that's what we wanted.
So yeah, the guy who installed it the first time, he's a good guy, and he knows we're frugal people. So he thought he was probably doing us a favor.
Right.
So I'm not mad at him.
But
again, we didn't really have that discussion of the fine line of spend a little more for better quality parts, because instead we lost out on having to pay the first guy to fix everything, to install it all. Right. And then we had to do it again.
And pay for new parts.
And pay for it. Then just the pain in the butt of just...
You're right in the middle of cleaning the house while someone's on the way.
They're added stress. When it's renovating our projects, we always have the choice to do it the cheapest way. And it may look fine for a year or two. Right. They call it contractor grade.
Builder grade.
Builder grade.
Now, some builder grade is okay, but I think what it is, and our friend will always say, look, this is going to cost X amount, but if you do it like this, it'll cost X amount. Which one do you want? And we're like, well, which one's going to last my entire life?
Right. Cheap is material, and work will always fall apart. Right. So it's for us. We always spend more up front, so it's just good for our lifetime. Exactly. And the cool thing about Scavengers here is that we all know is that you can get really good quality stuff for cheap if you scavenge for it. You scavenge for it online, or
that's being frugal. Right. So being frugal for us doesn't mean just get the cheapest faucet and the whatever. You're like, no, I actually want to get a nicer one, and I'm going to try to either buy it on eBay or buy it closeout at the warehouse or whatever. So you can balance that where you're not like, oh, I'm going to spend $500 on a faucet. Well, maybe I can find it on eBay or an open box. Yep. And it's the same quality.
Yep. Okay, a couple more things. Sigillini.
Mm-hmm.
Sigillini. It's funny, I don't say these names out loud.
I know, I always just read them on the page.
Read it, and then when I say it out loud, I'm like,
is that how you say it?
Okay, so she said she talked to eBay. She says, I noticed that even when I put shipping options on my item, only the lowest price option is made available. Right. Is this new? Is that
she asked them, yeah.
And then eBay said, great observation. This is new and it is intentional. Right now we're just testing it out on the site. Essentially, we'll only hide services that are more expensive and offer the same estimated delivery date. So if I'm
confused by that.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm not saying it right, I guess. So basically, when you put priority and parcel...
Right, it shows the cheapest one.
eBay will hide one of them. They'll just try and push out the one that they think that the buyer wants at the cheapest price, which is weird, And again, some people on its forum were going back and forth with well, I see it, but I don't see it. So.
Right. I haven't checked. I read that forum thread, but I didn't check. But to me, my experience is people want the cheapest shipping. They don't want the fastest shipping. Like every single time I hear from customers, they want the cheapest shipping.
Well, I think she's right. It should just be like Amazon. Just when I check out,
have like the 3 different options.
I get to choose, you know, and you tell me how fast each one is, how expensive each one is, and I choose.
I just bought something yesterday on Amazon, and I was like, okay, we're here. We don't need it super fast, but I need it by the time we're home and settled. Right. So let me do X. You know, it's those 3 to boom, you know.
Right. But, 90% of the time, that's how we do it. Like, I don't care 2 weeks, as long as it's free or cheap.
Yeah.
But there are other times, like this past a week ago, we needed an
something
item
in a day.
Because we're trying to, it's plumb a sink, and we're like, let's pay for expedited so it's here in 2 days.
Right, exactly.
Do it. So I don't really understand what eBay's trying to do, why they're trying to solve some kind of problem that's like already solved.
It's like easy to solve. This one takes 2 days. This one takes 8 days.
Just give people
cheaper.
the option. Yeah.
I'm not sure.
And then it's Nancy said that she thinks it would be nice if when I sell an item or when she sells an item, she would like to see eBay tell her how much of money she's gonna make off that item. You know, so if it sells for $30, she wants a breakdown. eBay's going to take this much. PayPal's going to take this month. Your listing fees. I don't know.
You know what? They definitely do not want to show you that information. They don't want to. Well, because if you're going to sell something for $12. Like, you don't actually want to know how much you're going to make because it's nothing.
Well, I don't know. We don't really sell on other platforms, really. I mean, we've tried, and I've never seen how other platforms do that. But I think also it would just be very difficult for eBay because there's other costs that's not associated with a specific item. Like, we have a store subscription. So how do you say how much that one item is? If we have an item that has been on eBay for a year...
Right. How much
are they going to calculate how much the listing fees are?
I guess they could say approximate. They could say,
I think eBay, they are giving you like a store snapshot. So they do give you those pages that show you your selling costs are 27% of your profit, and then there'll be like a pie chart, and it will break down.
Oh my God. I feel like I just never see stuff like that. Yeah. I'm like, what?
And I don't know how it is on other sites like Poshmark. That seems to be the one that everyone kind of talks about now.
Yeah.
I don't know if Poshmark is more like they're based on item by item, and they don't really give like a store overview. They're just kind of intent on getting people just to sell item by item because maybe that's who they think their person is. It's like a woman who's just selling extra clothes in her closet versus
someone
it sounds like
seller.
A lot of people who we're like a store, on Poshmark. So I'd love to know how Poshmark is telling people how much money they make.
Look, I would agree that eBay, it'd be great if they gave you more data. Like, I would love to see pie charts of like the last 10 years. Like, I'd love to be able to change up that data, kind of like, I don't know if QuickBooks does this, but like GoDaddy bookkeeping, you can like see the whole year on like line charts. Like, you had more expenses in January than you did profit,
Right now, I can hear him. Troy's
like, this information's available.
He's like, you just have to do spreadsheets, and actually he does a 6-bit, which is like a third-party app, and actually he was talking about he wanted to do like a live event with us.
Oh, to talk about that.
And I thought it'd be cool where he would walk us through his way of gathering all that data and figuring out how he figures out exactly what you just said. Because when he posts his
very detailed,
it's numbers, because he's like that kind of guy. He can show you from like, a year ago I made X% more or less. And
I mean, we could, you and I,
I'm 22% year on year.
You and I, honestly, we could go through every podcast and chart it.
Yeah.
Since we started doing our numbers on the podcast, which was a long time ago. Yeah. I just am like, do I really want to do that?
Yeah. Well, that's why I said in the beginning of the podcast that, like, we are not, especially me, we are not like business gurus. We're more like, I always think of myself as like mom and pop, like we're at the kitchen table. I got my pencil and a piece of paper, and we can do the numbers well enough where we know where we are and we know what we're trying to do.
Like you said, a snapshot.
We're frugal, like we're those kind of like small C capitalism kind of view. And then there are other people that are like business people, went to school for it, they got Excel sheets, they're doing like, they can say all the words that make sense, and both are good. It's just a different way. Yeah. It's just two different ways. I want to ask you one last thing, and then we'll go to questions. Okay. Someone was saying on Poshmark that when they ship, it's like a flat fee, right? I've only sold one thing on Poshmark. Okay, well, to know? I'm telling you. Okay. So it's a flat fee, and they said, it's not good if someone just buys like a single shirt because it's like $6 or something. Right. I don't know. But it's really great if someone buys like 2 pairs of like heavy pairs of boots. Well, I sold boots and the shipping was like $6.75. It's still just like a flat fee. And someone had been like, how is Poshmark doing that? Why doesn't eBay have like a shipping relationship with the post office? Like Poshmark. How did they do that? I don't know if any of us are going to know the answer. I'm thinking Poshmark is just like maybe they eat some of that cost. They're subsidizing it. Like, so when you send 2 pairs of boots to California from the East Coast for $6, that's not how much they pay the post office. They're willing to eat some of the cost. Does Poshmark have like VC funding? Because I feel like that's where the subsidies come from. Like, there are lots of companies like Lyft and Uber, when they first started. Right. You were like, wow, rides are $2? How's that possible? Well, because they have so much VC funding. Right. And we were in Atlanta, and we were taking like a Lyft across town for $3. For 2 people. Right. You're like, not even like a Lyft line. So I don't know. Yeah. I just don't feel like Poshmark has the kind of volume. Definitely it's not more than eBay, how they could get a better deal from the post office. I have no idea. That's just why I'm always a little bit, God bless other companies, but I just wonder when they have to actually start making money, if those numbers start changing and they start charging sellers more. And because I don't think, because I have to look this up, and someone could probably educate me on this. If Poshmark is VC funded, if they're making money, and if they're publicly traded at this point, which I doubt. I feel like I would have heard that they were publicly traded, but I'm pretty sure they're like still in startup phase, even though they've been around forever. Yep. So that's why. I just did a quick Google search. Yeah. Fashion resale, a marketplace, Poshmark, is eyeing an IPO. When was that article written? A month ago. Okay, so that sounds correct. So they're currently, being funded. So that's why. Yeah, so that's a thing, like, and that's what a lot of these, like, kind of startup companies do, is that they reel you in with the... They subsidize everything with their funding, and then at some point they have to get, Yeah. Anyway. So. Okay, that's business talk from Scavenger Life. Okay, let's answer questions that people called in. Okay, sent us. You can call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. Or you can email us an audio file from your phone. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com.
Hey, Jay and Ryan. It's Wendy. I just wanted to call you guys and see if anybody else has had this new thing that estate sales are doing. Is basically you go in, nothing's priced. And maybe they've been doing this a while, or I'm just new to this area, so that this particular group of estate sales have been doing it. Is they don't price anything. You walk in, we'll make you a big, good, great deal. Just make a pile. So they go in and they make a pile, and they come back with like 25% off, maybe, but the prices are so inflated that even 25% off isn't really a great deal. And then you've already accumulated all this stuff, and so now you have to face this dilemma of putting everything back or, sucking it up and buying it. So I was just curious, what are your tactics? Just go the last day? I'm thinking I've started doing that, but honestly, the last day is almost as busy as the first day now because of, the prices have gotten so high on these estate sales. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks.
So I would love to hear what other people say, because we don't really do...
I can't remember the last time we went to an estate sale.
Because we don't live in an urban area, because I feel like estate sales are definitely like the urban, suburban kind of thing. But we have been to them. I would never walk into an estate sale, and if they wouldn't give me prices up front, I would never waste my time grabbing stuff because,
because of what you just said.
Like, I would do like you do, find one thing I like, say, how expensive is this? And then if they say, it's $100 and I'm willing to pay $10, I put it down and I walk away, because that's just not my place.
Oh my God,
that's not going to be the sale I want to go to.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough because, in a way, they're kind of like, oh, we'll give you a deal. Estate sales.
What's the deal?
Estate sales are not yard sales. At yard sales, you're gonna make a pile and they'll be like $10, and you're like, great, I love it, But at an estate sale, they're like $250, and you're like, are you kidding me?
I mean, I do that at flea markets that I love. I'll go up to a table, I'll pick up the item I want, and very often there's no prices anywhere. It's just stuff laid out.
Yeah.
And then I will shop based on the price of that one item. So if I pick up an item and it's like it's $50.
You're like,
I'm like, I'll pay, I want to pay you $1 for this. I put it down and I walk away, because he's running like an antique table not
store,
like, but if I pick up an item and he's like, oh, it's $1, I'm like, okay.
You get a feeling.
I'm grabbing a pile of stuff because
it's like that at thrift stores. I mean, you'll walk into a thrift store, and you'll see, $15 for a pair of crappy shoes. You're like, I'm pretty sure everything else in this thrift store is like too high for what I'm willing to pay. So you look around and you walk away.
That's what we did here. We've walked into a couple of thrift stores. We go straight to the shoes, and you pick it up. Shoes are $50. Like, put it down. See
this
you
is
later.
not the right place for me.
Not my place.
Yeah, so that's just...
But I would love to hear if other people that do estate sales on a regular basis have encountered that and how they deal with prices. And
because we haven't been to estate sales in a while, just because, like you said, we live in an area where there aren't any. Right. You kind of have to get closer to the city where there are estates being sold off.
Right.
Okay, that is it for the podcast this week from beautiful New York City. You can check out our blog at scavengerlife.com for links we discuss and to join the conversation on the forum. Again, you can call our voicemail line, leave us a question or a comment. The phone number is 540-407-8486, or you can email us an audio file, thescavengerlife@gmail.com. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video, currently being brought to you by Steven Schultz. You can support us through our Patreon account on our sidebar for as little as $5 a month. You can subscribe for free through iTunes or YouTube, so you always get the latest episode. You can buy our archive of 5+ years of podcasts that let you download and listen to offline. That's the download all link on our sidebar. We are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1.
See ya, guys.